And good afternoon. Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Thank you for making us part of your day. I'm very excited for my next guest. I've been trying to get him on for probably 3 or 4 months. He's been extremely busy. Got a lot of activities going. Mr. Brock Williams. Brock, welcome to the booth.
Thank you for having me.
And I should say this, Brock, is it okay if I call you Brock?
Yeah.
Brock Williams, tell the listeners a little bit about Brock Williams.
I'm just some little country boy that grew up in Puxico and went to graduate high school, went to school at University of Missouri, moved to Texas and met a girl down there. Took a couple years to get her to come to Missouri and become my wife, and then I've worked for Shelter Insurance for 23 years and then added a couple things along the way.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance. Brock has a lot of stuff to talk about. He's very active in the community. Extremely lucky to have him in the Dexter, Stoddard County area. Brock, you say you moved to Texas. Tell me what in the world made you want to move to Texas?
There was a job. When I graduated, there was a way they did the recruiting at Mizzou was basically you went through this whole program and then you got offers from different companies. One of the offers I got was from Gallo Winery, and so I was recruited to move to Austin, Texas, and I sold wine to grocery store accounts in the Austin area. As my parents said to our pastor, I sold communion wine, and there was a lot of fellowship that went on with it, but I was down there for about a year and a half before the first time Southeast Missouri pulled me back.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance. Brock, we need to talk about the most important thing that you found in Texas, and that was your wife. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't know she has the same opinion all the time, but yes, that is definitely it.
And tell us a little bit, I was speaking to one guy on the radio the other day, and he had met his wife. He had moved here from Russia. I was playing basketball at a college, or excuse me, high school there in Florida, and he went to a water park, and he wound up meeting a girl from Risco, who was also there on her senior trip. You're going to tell me your story is just as interesting. Is that right, Brock?
Well, she was my Sunday school teacher, and so the way that we tell the story typically is that because it was in a Hyde Park Baptist Church, which is a large church in Austin, and it was a big singles group, and she was one of the people that led the group, and I say that she got the pick of the class because there was a large group there, and she found the cutest one in the group. She likes to contend that I needed more than 1 hour of ministry a week, so she surrendered to full-time service and became my wife.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd and KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. And Brock, I've seen your beautiful wife, and if I may say, you're definitely outkicked your comfort, sir.
If you do it right, that's what you do.
Absolutely. And Brock, tell me a little bit about Shelter Insurance. I know that you said you've been working for them for 23 years now. Is that correct?
Yes, a little over.
Tell me a little about the agency. I know it's here in Dexter. Tell the people who don't know or are listening in Stoddard County and maybe in Dunklin or Pemiscot or Butler, how can we get a hold of you, and where are you at here in Dexter area?
We are on the North Outer Road, right beside Betty Lou's. It's the old Lemonade House Grill building. We bought that about 4 years ago and converted it over to an office. And big blue building on the north side of Highway 60 in Dexter.
And if we're interested in giving you a phone call or just reaching out, is there an email address and a phone call that we can also do?
573-624-8923. That's our phone number. My email address is brockwilliams@shelterinsurance.com. You call us, let us know at any time. Me, Matt, or Joey get you taken care of.
And also, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance. Brock, I peruse the Facebook, as I call it, the Facebook, because I'm 52 years old. So I've noticed that your agency is doing very well. 2 months in a row, Agency of the Month. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
So kind of my path with Shelter. I started with Shelter on May 1st of 2002. I just moved back from Texas, and I started as a claims adjuster. I was a claims adjuster for about 4.5 years. The first 3 years as a auto adjuster, and then the last year half I was a catastrophe adjuster. So basically something big happened, I was gone. So after Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf in 2005, I basically lived in Mississippi for 9 months. That was the way it worked. An opportunity came up in 2006 that the agent in Bloomfield, Missouri, Donna Medlin, was retiring, and it gave me a chance to come back home full-time because I was living in Puxico at the time, and we took the agency in Bloomfield. In 2019, I took a management position in up in the Wentzville areas where we moved to, and I had 37 agencies that I was basically over, with training and direction and everything like that. And then the agent in Dexter, Missouri in 2021 passed away. And it was a chance to come back home for the second time, and that's how we got here. We've been, like I said, I have 2 full-time people that work for me. Matt Mitchell, he's been with me since I got there, and Joe Geiling, he's been there since April. The former FedEx guy, as I said to him, he was basically Santa Claus to everybody around here for 25 years, and he left FedEx, and now he's with us.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance. And Brock, one more time, give that address, phone number, and email for anyone who's reaching out to Brock Williams for some insurance for Shelter.
It is 1502 North Outer Road, Dexter, Missouri, 63841, 573-624-8923. And we're on the north side of Highway 60. It's a big blue building, and you can't miss us.
And it's my understanding, Shelter services is not health, obviously. It's life insurance, property insurance. What else do you guys have as far as services if someone's looking for some services from Shelter Insurance?
We pretty much have the ability to do about anything. So our main thing is personal line and business line stuff of, your auto, home, life, business, and things like that. But we also have a company that we're affiliated with Shelter. It's another division of Shelter, and it opens up opportunities to kind of like an independent market where we can pretty much place about anything. Now, some things is not exactly in our wheelhouse, but that is, the other agency that we work with that allows that to open up for us.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance. For all of your insurance needs, give Brock a call or his other 2 agents that are affiliated with him. Brock, one thing that we need to talk about, you have a very unique part-time, full-time job in that you also own the Dexter Twin Cinema. Is that correct?
That is correct, and a good way to say that.
And, obviously, someone who has a primary job and then has about 3 other jobs that I do out of love, what do you do with your 2 minutes of free time when you're not working at Shelter, dealing with the Dexter Twin Cinema, or just chasing the kids around?
It's usually in a car going to a sporting event or heading to church or something like that.
And let's talk a little bit about the Dexter Twin Cinema. I think that's one of those things that, keeping a local cinema open in a community is so important. People don't realize how important that is. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved and why you decided to do that.
So you're right. It is a challenge keeping everything flowing and stuff like that. A lot of people don't realize how, and honestly, I did until I got in the middle of it, how everything works with the theater and stuff. Basically, we're a theater that shows new movies because there's different ways you can set your format up, but we set it up from the beginning as a new movie theater. So we show new releases, maybe a week or 2 old. The industry has changed a lot in the last 5 years, honestly, but in the last 15 years, it really has changed. I had a friend of mine that reached out to me about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, and said something about buying a movie theater. He said he was going to look at it. And I was like, well, I've always wondered what the upstairs looked like. So I went with him to go check it out. And I went through the place and stuff, and then I went home. I said, oh, cool, good luck with it. He called me back, when we started talking about it, and I said, I'm really not interested in buying a movie theater. I've got way too much stuff going as it is. Those talks kept going. Ended up, a month or 2 later, we bought it as a partnership. A couple months after that, my partner, with him, he was busy with a bunch of kids and things like that. It just didn't work out, and so we actually bought him out, and my wife and I own it full now, and it's challenging keeping things going. A lot of the stuff, like you always hear movie theater pricing on like candy and stuff. Well, the reason it's like it is, that's what keeps the doors open because it's just a challenge staying on top of all the bills and everything like that. And then you throw in with, we're basically a minimum wage job, and we try to keep at least a couple on shift every shift, and we're getting ready to go to $15 an hour and stuff. That's keeping up with the payroll and all the stuff like that. It's just there's a lot of different challenges out there.
And again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, the Shield of Shelter here in Dexter, for all of your insurance needs. We're also talking to Brock, and, about the Dexter Twin Cinema. The thing that I think of, Brock, is a lot of people say, like you say, these prices are a little high or whatever for these candies, but then you think to yourself, hey, I'm driving 2 minutes to see a movie that's coming out today in Dexter, Missouri, and for your enjoyment. So we appreciate the fact that you're willing to do it and that you are doing it because, like you say, running a second business in addition to having kids, I can't imagine the amount of time that, how do you go about scheduling all the movies and being there for the deliveries, and then also, I haven't even asked you this, the hours of operation, not to mention when you're open, but, I watch you on your Facebook page, it's like, hey, we had a great day today. Somebody gave us a drive-through and drove through the building.
That was a fun day.
Yeah. We also have, a projector is broken. I'm here trying to fix it. Please, So I admire you for doing that. How do you stay, for lack of a better word, stay sane in that situation?
That's actually a question I don't know I can answer that one, but I kind of look at it like anything out there. There's an answer for every question that's out there. You just got to figure out how to ask the question right. And when it comes to projectors and stuff, most of the repairs on the projectors and stuff like that, I came in. I mean, I know some basic mechanical skills and stuff like that, but it's just trial and error and figuring things out. Over that time, I've also made some contacts with some people that has been life-saving when it comes to that, because last Friday, we had a fan that went out on the internal part of the projector. So I basically start taking the projector apart. 2 years ago, that would have been a little scary. Well, at this point, I've done it enough with things that I just jumped in. I didn't know how to do all of it, so I called a guy on a Friday night, and he luckily answered the phone and walked me through doing the parts I didn't know how to do, and we were up and going in about 30 minutes. And, there's also people out there, and this is in any industry, not just having a theater. There's people that are willing to help you. You just got to be willing to ask. And I have got to the point of I don't mind asking. So.
And again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, Shield of Shelter Insurance here in Dexter, located on the outer road. You can also give him a phone call at
573-624-8923.
And we're talking about the Dexter Twin Cinema Theater that he's also owner, operator, and as he calls him, I'm going to call you the Grand Poobah. That's the word that I learned from somebody. The Grand Poobah of the Dexter Twin Cinema. Tell us a little bit about the hours of operation and how you kind of decided when it's going to be open and things of that nature, if you don't care.
So when we originally took the theater open, we were open 6 days a week. We did that for about a year, but found that just the crowds and stuff, it didn't make sense for a couple of those days. So we are open on Friday night for Friday night showing, and then on Saturday we have a matinee and an evening show. Sunday we have a matinee show, and then on Tuesday night, that's a very popular night in our industry for our theater anyway. It's Tuesday night showing. It's free popcorn night. If you bring a bowl with you, we will fill it for free. If you eat all that popcorn and you come out for more, we'll fill it again. And now we do appreciate when people buy drinks and candy and stuff like that, because that's what, like I said, keeps the doors open. But the previous owners had started that a number of years ago, and Clint Costa, I think, is the one that had started that, and we kind of like that, so we've kept it going. So.
And again, you indicated it's Friday evening. What time does the show time start?
7 o'clock typically in that area. 7 and 7:15 is usually what we'll have. Now, sometimes if we have a longer show, we may adjust that just a little bit. We do all of our scheduling on. You can look on our Facebook page, and that has our schedule. I update it every week. I've only messed up a couple times on that, but I am a human person that does make some mistakes on that. But if you look for the most current information, if you look on our Facebook page, at the top of the Facebook page, it has our schedule for the week and what we're showing and what time.
So it's my understanding you just type in Dexter Twin Cinema at the Facebook page, and that'll pop up, correct?
I haven't done it that way, but that's what we are, so I guess that would work properly.
Outstanding. So again, it's Friday evening, the Saturday matinee, the Saturday evening, and the Sunday matinee. Also Tuesday, which will be my favorite because I love popcorn, and I can eat a lot of popcorn.
We have the best popcorn out there. Fancy Farm out of Bernie, that's where we get it from. We go right to the plant, pick it up, and bring it to the theater and pop it up.
Bring your bowl on Tuesday to Dexter Twin Cinema. Free popcorn, all you can eat. You can't beat that. I mean, that's an outstanding opportunity. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance and also the Dexter Twin Cinema. And, you know, Brock, one thing I'd like to ask you is a lot of these people that help you run the theater, are they high school kids? Or how do you go about also finding workers and things of that nature? Is it mostly you and your family?
So we've got a combination. We've got a lot of high school age kids that work for us. We have a few adults that work for us. We have a couple teachers that seems to work well with their schedules and stuff like that. And then also my family helps also. And basically it seemed like the way it's worked over the 3 years that we've had it is we would go through, somebody would leave, and about that time somebody would appear that needed to fill a role. And 2 summers ago we had a certain girl that worked for us that she worked a lot, and then she ended up going to college, and somebody appeared that kind of filled the role that she did. It's just, there's a lot of prayer that goes into it, and there's been a lot of prayers answered with the way that things have fell out. And I'm a person that believes in prayer, and we definitely have seen it in action at that theater.
And again, we're talking to Brock Williams, who's not only the Shelter Insurance agent here in Dexter, but also owns the Dexter Twin Cinema. And for those who don't know, the Twin Cinema is located in I think it's called the Town and Country Shopping Center, I think still. It's over by El Tapatio, the Mexican restaurant, right next door to Subway. And that's where we're located at. And if you have any questions about the showtimes, you can get on the Facebook page, Dexter Twin Cinema. Brock assures you that will never be any errors on it, 100% correct all the time. Correct, Brock?
I assure there will never be any intentional errors on the show.
That's all you can say, 100%. Right. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. Brock, as we kind of went through your journey earlier, you indicated that you're originally from Puxico. Is that correct?
Sir. That's correct.
What year did you graduate from Puxico?
1995.
1995. So tell me a little bit about Puxico. The one thing everybody always says when they say Puxico, they all talk about the major event that goes on in the summer, that being the Puxico Homecoming.
That is very correct.
Tell listeners a little bit, and I know, I don't think there's anyone out there, but for those who are not aware of the Puxico Homecoming, kind of explain to the listeners about the Puxico Homecoming.
So, Puxico Homecoming happens the second Tuesday in August every year. In my lifetime, I have missed one night of homecoming, and that was the night the day my daughter was released from the hospital in San Antonio, Texas, after she was born, and I was there for the second night. And it's my wife teases me and says I'm the homecoming king and stuff like that, which is, now she did have some requirements. She had to square dance and eat a goat burger before we got married, but basically it's just a big festival that goes on in Puxico. It started, I don't know some of the back history, but there was an event that went on in Puxico that was taken over by the VFW in 45, I think it's 45, 46, somewhere in that area. And basically it was to welcome the soldiers home after World War II. And it's continually went on for 70-something years. I can't remember exactly how much it is right now. And the VFW is in charge of it. It's an alcohol-free event. It's a free event. Totally, because you just basically park on the street somewhere and come downtown. They try to keep the prices as low as they can with stuff, with the drinks and the sandwiches and stuff like that. So nothing against other carnivals that are around, but you get to ticket prices and stuff. They're just outrageous. Now, they intentionally keep them low. Now, it may not have the same variety of rides and things like that some other venues have, but it's a good, wholesome, fun time for people.
And again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. Brock Williams has the Shelter Insurance Agency here in Dexter. For all of your insurance needs, get a hold of Brock. He's located on the Outer Road. He also owns the Dexter Twin Cinema Theater here in Dexter. You can get on the Facebook page. They're open Friday evening for shows, Saturday matinee and a Saturday evening show, as well as a Sunday matinee. And Tuesday, free popcorn if you bring a bowl and need as much popcorn as you want. We're talking a lot about the Puxico Homecoming. And Brock, I can remember back in 1990, maybe it was 1991, I went to the Puxico Homecoming with an individual who had wound up moving to Holcomb. His father was a pastor, and he was the pastor at the church I was going to. And we came to the homecoming.
What was his name?
Eric Clinton.
He was my brother's roommate in college.
Eric Clinton, his dad, Doug Clinton, is a pastor, still
Yes,
a pastor down at Zenith. Eric and I are very good friends, played a lot of wiffle ball, listened to a lot of Cardinals. So he took me to the homecoming, and I was like, this is going to be kind of, I was a high school kid. I didn't realize it's the most amazing event I've been to in my life, simply because the entire downtown is just shut down.
Yep.
And there's just people everywhere. It's a little bit hillier than I'm used to, being from the flatlands. And it was one of the best events and times I've had in my life. And then he said, Darren, you have to eat this. So the next thing you know, he gave me I thought it was a hamburger.
It was a barbecue, wasn't it?
And I dug into it, and it was absolutely delicious. Kind of explain to the listeners what I was actually eating.
My guess would be a goat burger.
That is 100% correct. I was eating a goat burger, and I never thought I'd eat a goat burger, but it was actually pretty doggone tasty. What's the history behind the goat burger, Brock? Do you know?
So my understanding on it was, I don't know what the timeline was, but early when this started, goat meat was very cheap. And so they had a crowd that was coming for this festival. And so they just started making, barbecue sandwiches out of goat. And it seemed like in the 90s is really when it, because like I said, I graduated high school in 95. My dad was the post commander of the VFW for 4 years in the 90s. And so I kind of got firsthand on some of that stuff. But that's what really seemed like the goat burger kind of got its own mystique to a certain way. And it's become, that you go to the homecoming to eat a goat burger. And I can say, so I've always heard from everybody that if you have one goat burger a year, it will keep you from getting sick. I've always had a goat burger every year, except for in 2021, sorry. I did not have a goat burger. In 2022, in January, I almost died from COVID. So the only thing I can say is that I can't say they're not right. So, because I didn't have a goat burger that year.
Absolutely. Always go to the Puxico Homecoming. It starts the first Tuesday in August. Second Tuesday in August. You've got to go have a goat burger. Again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, the shelter insurance agent here at Dexter. His office is located on the outer road here in Dexter. The old Lemonade House Grill.
Yes.
Location. You'll see he also has a gigantic waving flag. Did he?
Well, I had a pumpkin there, but
the pumpkin had a horrible accident. Is that correct, Brock?
It had a bad accident last weekend. The storm took the pumpkin out, but I do on the side of the building if you're coming from Sykeston, you can see the shelter insurance Brock Williams on it, and then on the other side we've got a big shelter sign coming from Poplar Bluff. So,
and we also Brock's also involved with the Dexter Twin Cinema. Get on the Facebook page. Come Friday 7:00 for a show, Saturday matinee and a Saturday evening show, also a Sunday matinee and Tuesday night free popcorn if you bring a bowl. So it's an absolutely great time. Talking a lot about the Puxico Homecoming, and this kind of leads me to the question. I can remember exactly what year it was because Puxico had an outstanding basketball team in 1990. Yes. Brian Blackburn, Sean Hazel, John Paul Brown, I think maybe.
Tim Dublin.
Yes, Tim Dublin. David Oliver was
Oliver.
Also on the team. And forgive me, I think there was one other person. I apologize.
Keith Shepard. He was a sixth man.
Yeah, and I apologize but that was an outstanding team. Eric Clinton and I also that year, unfortunately, went and watched the year that they played Portageville, and of course that was
we don't need to talk about that.
That was the year Portageville started their runs of undefeated so it's almost like. But anyway, which leads me to we're extremely excited about the Puxico year this year. They're going to have. I think they're going to be very good. They can follow up from last year. But that leads me to this question, Brock. You have some outstanding children as well. Is that correct?
I feel so.
Tell me a little bit about the kids.
So both of my children are adopted. My son, he was adopted from Russia when he was about 2.5 is when we brought him home. And he is 15 now. He plays soccer on the inaugural soccer team at Dexter High School. They just started this year. And then he also is a cross-country member, too. He was on the team that won 4th in the state last year. And they're just very proud of him. And then my daughter, Vivian, she is in 5th grade. She's also a soccer player, and she also plays piano, and she's the life of the party, keeps us active everywhere she goes. And she is also adopted. She's from San Antonio, Texas is where she's from. And that's what I had mentioned earlier with Texas and stuff. And like I said, they're both adopted. They're both awesome kids. And you look at it from our standpoint as their parents and thinking how well they get along together. And I mean, they're each other's best friend, and by the stars aligning, they became brother and sister. And it's just, it's kind of fun to watch that as they're growing older and stuff like that.
And again, everyone, welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, Shelter Insurance, Delta Twin Cinema Theater here in Dexter, and also talking about his great kids, Daniel and Vivian. And you know, that kind of leads me to, you indicated that your kids are both adopted. I have 3 children. Annalise is my oldest. She is married and lives in Zenith with my grandson, Walker. My middle son, Jack, we adopted Jack when he was 2. We went out to Utah and got him from St. George, Utah, and he came and became a member of our family and fit in seamlessly. We're so grateful that Jack's with us. And then my youngest son, Evan, is a senior at Kennett. He also plays soccer, and we've seen each other at some soccer games.
Yes, we have.
And, you know, we need to talk a little bit about the Dexter soccer program, because I'm extremely excited that Dexter has implemented the soccer program. I know they're putting a lot of money into it with resources and facilities. That's truly amazing. But I think you need to talk a little bit about the soccer program, because you got something that is very important that first year. You got the first inaugural win. Is that correct?
Yes, we did, against the Kennett Indians, and it was the 3rd time we'd played them, and we appreciated them playing us 3 times. So we moved back to Dexter 4 years ago. When we came back, there was some different people working towards trying to get soccer implemented in high school. Alex Barney was one of the people that was a big proponent of that, and did a lot of work on doing research on how they could make it work, and how the funding on it, and where they could put a soccer field, and all kinds of different things like that. He wasn't the only one, but he was the person carrying the flag the most. And so it went through the school board. They voted on it 2 years ago and approved doing it. And then in the voting last April, I think that's correct, it was April, there was some funding that came through from one of the bonds that passed, and it provided some funding for doing the fields and stuff, and doing some other things at the school too, but the soccer field was one of the things. The soccer field is right next to the football field at Dexter, and you know, it has been a challenging year, as we knew it would be, from starting off a brand new program, but they've done really well. And we can actually see the progression, how they have gotten better over the year and stuff. I mean, you're talking, there's kids playing on the team that haven't played organized soccer in 3, 4, 5 years, and they're out there, you know, working their tails off. And it's been, like I said, it's been really fun to watch.
And again, everyone, welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. Brock is talking about his son Daniel, who is a member of the inaugural soccer team here at Dexter. They got their first victory last week against Kennett. We're very excited they did get a victory. That's always important for the first one, you know. And we need to talk a little bit about Daniel, because he had an outstanding game. Is that correct?
He did. He scored 3 goals in that game, as we yelled hat trick on the side from it. He's got some really good teammates on there that work really hard, and he just, you know, was very blessed to be in the right spot, and he's also very fast too. So if he gets around somebody, he can really get around them. So,
and not only is he also on soccer, you also indicate he's on cross country, and I think
sir.
Dexter has an outstanding cross country program. Talk a little bit about the cross country program. What's going on with cross country at Dexter?
So last year, they won 4th in the state for Class 3, and they lost 2 very, very good seniors that were 2 all-state seniors, and they've still got a good core unit there. It's not a really large team, so that does make it a little challenging, because there's some dependence on freshmen coming in that some of these other programs don't have to worry about. You know, like you look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a fleet of people. They've got a varsity cross country team and a junior varsity team. Well, that's because they have so many kids that are involved in it. At Dexter, we've got, I can't remember exactly, it's like 6, 7, 8, something like that, kids that are involved in it. And you've got to have at least 5 for the team portion of cross country. And but they've still got a really strong team. Districts is next Saturday, and looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, who's graciously given us some of his 55 minutes or so of time that he probably doesn't have. He's a shelter insurance agent here. Office is located on the Outer Road here in Dexter. He's also owner-operator of the Dexter Twin Cinema Theater. Friday nights, 7 o'clock showing, Saturday matinee. What time's the matinee? 2 o'clock? Is that
around 2? It's 2 and 2:15 is typically. We do a split on it, so they're not both starting at the same time. So.
Look on the Facebook page page. That's what I should always tell them. But I'll let them know that also Saturday evening and then Sunday matinee. And for those of you, Tuesday evening, free popcorn if you bring your own bowl, as much popcorn as you want. Brock, you're talking about a lot of your moving around and the shelter insurance, things of that nature. You say you went to Wentzville and you ran some agencies as far as managing them, I believe, or
yes, sir.
training. You also did the adjusting side of it. Does that kind of lend you to being more focused and able to say, hey, when somebody comes into me and says, Brock, here's what I've got, it kind of allows you to tailor something towards them as far as an insurance program because of all the knowledge that you've received in the past?
I think that's probably a good way to put it. Like I said, there's some really talented people out there in other companies and stuff like that, but I'm very biased that I think we have a really good company. Shelter's based out of Columbia. Like I said, I've been with them for 23 and a half years at this point. Very proud to be a member of Shelter and all that goes with it. Looking back on my path of getting to where I'm at now, I mean, you do something for 23 and a half years, you do build some knowledge up, and that's, it's definitely there, but, you think of where I was at, even 10 years, 15 years ago and stuff like that. And it's just, there's a more of a comfortable feeling with it. I've also been, since being with the same company and stuff, I've got a lot of contacts within the company. If there's something we're not sure on, we know who to get a hold of. If there's an issue with claims, we know who to get a hold of there. And like I said, we're not perfect. I mean, we make mistakes with stuff. We try not to, but it does happen. But we've been very blessed to have, just good relations with a lot of different people. And, I make sure to tell my people, you don't burn bridges because you never know when you need to go back across that bridge. So, if somebody upsets you on stuff, try to piece everything over, whether it's on the business side that somebody you're and insured, or it's on the corporate side and you're dealing with somebody in home office. You got to play the game a little bit and try to pacify things.
And again, we're going to welcome Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance. A lot about Brock and the things he does for the community, in addition to this Dexter Twin Cinema, which I don't know how lucky people realize they are that he spends as much time as he does putting the effort into that, so that way Dexter has a cinema, Stoddard County has a cinema. It's kind of a thankless task, and it's not something to get rich on. It's out of love for the community and love to bring entertainment to the citizens. Is that right, Brock?
And that's a good way to say that, probably. Yeah.
And I say that because a lot of people were like, well, I wish that he would do this, or I wish we were open 6 days a week. And like you say, I mean, on a Monday night, if you have 3 people watching a movie, it's just not financially viable.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense
to do it.
When you're paying right now, I think minimum wage is $13.75. I think that's right. You just figure that if you've got 2 people working, $13.75, they usually work about 4 hours on a shift. I mean, you can do the math there where you need to be at. And we have not raised the prices in the theater in 3 years.
And I haven't even asked you that. What does it cost to watch a movie in the theater here in Dexter at the Twin Cinema?
It's $7.50 for adults, and I think it's $6.50 for 12 and under. I think that's correct. I apologize if I'm off on it. And then we do have a senior amount on there too, and I can't remember what that one is. But we have not changed that since we came in. And then on top of that, even the concession stands. We've not upped our concession stand prices since May of 22, I think. And 23.
If you just do the math, let's say, not accounting the electricity and utilities and things of that nature, if we have one person come in at $7.50, that doesn't sound like it's going to balance out. I'm not real good with math.
It doesn't make sense sometimes.
I understand. So please take an opportunity to come to the Dexter Twin Cinema Friday night, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, and also Sunday matinee. And you know what? Even if you just pack the house on Tuesday for the free popcorn, bring it on. Come on Tuesday. And Brock, how do you go about deciding and getting the movies that you play? I mean, a lot of people want to know that. They're like, when I first talked to the individuals who own the Palace there in Kennett, they said at first they were required to have the movie for 2 weeks if it was a new release. Sometimes they could get old releases, sometimes they couldn't. How do you work through that red tape? How does that work?
So Jill does, and down in Kennett, does hers a little different than we do. I actually have a broker that we deal with. That was one thing that I didn't want to take on, figuring out all the contracts and stuff. So we have a broker that we work with. Being an independent theater, We have a lot of flexibility with what's coming in, because we've had people that have reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you look into this movie coming in?" And if it works for what we're trying to do, then we'll bring it in. We try to. I'm a little biased on what I show at different times because I'm trying to show things that are, good movies. I try, things like that. And so we do have control over that. When we came in, there was 3 things we wanted to focus on. One was we wanted to have friendly staff. We need to have people that are friendly. We work with that constantly, trying to smile and things like that. We wanted to have a good experience, so when people come in, there's not red lines going through the screen, different things like that, and also we want to have quality shows from the standpoint of just the experience itself. We're a little old theater. We're aware of that, but we try to make it where it's something you can come in and enjoy it for a couple hours and go on.
And again, we're all welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, the Shield of Shelter man here in Dexter. Has 2 affiliate agents. You can reach him on the outer road here in Dexter. He is the owner of the Dexter Twin Cinema. Get on the Facebook page and look for all the showings, also the listings, times, what's going to be coming in and what's going to be going, I'm assuming. So it's very informational. Also talked a lot about Puxico. Puxico, the homecoming, is the 2nd Tuesday in August.
That's correct.
And it lasts until that.
It goes from Tuesday to Saturday.
You need to go if you've not been. It's seriously one of the most amazing events I've been to in a long time. You've got to go get the goat burger. It also has great medicinal purposes.
Of course, yes.
Keep you healthy. And Brock, one thing that we haven't talked about, I went to school at Hawcom, and we had what was called barn warming. And every year, our PE teacher would require that we would learn how to square dance prior to the barn warming, a couple weeks beforehand. You indicate that we could also, at the Puxico homecoming, also square dance. Is that correct?
Yeah, see, they don't require that in school because you already know by the time you get to school. So.
And let me ask you this. Is there any video of you out there square dancing, Brock?
I'm sure there is, yeah.
You've got to get that so we can put it up on the YouTube. That's got to be out there somewhere. I want to see Brock Williams square dancing.
I will tell you, 20 years ago, it looked different than it does now. It hurt different than it does now, too.
I can believe. And for those who are not familiar, it's almost they just set up a stage in the middle of town.
Yeah, pretty much. And
then they have people come out and square dance. It's really a great event. You need to come out, support the Puxico homecoming. Another thing, again, we're welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, the Shelter Insurance Dexter Twin Cinema theater owner here in Dexter. Brock, you're also very active in the community when you're not following Daniel and Vivian around on their sporting activities. Tell the listeners a little bit about some of the stuff that you're involved with as far as the community.
So I'm currently the Dexter Chamber of Commerce president. I've been on the board for about 3 years now. And so that basically entails just working with some of the business stuff. And we have an executive director, Alicia Trammell. She does a wonderful job. And our board basically just assists her is what we're there. We're there to help with, some of the different things going on behind the scenes and just helping her do her job as part of what our job is. I'm also on the Rotary Club. I've been in the Rotary about a year and a half, something like that. It's a service organization. We basically just try to provide different, sometimes it's financial stuff, sometimes it's, just different things for people that need it out in the community and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm kind of involved in a little bit of everything. Also, our church, my wife and I teach a Bible study at our church. It's all the time there's something going on.
And again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. A little bit about his role as president of the Chamber of Commerce. And, that brings me up to the story, Alicia, she's been on the show, I've also met her numerous times. I think one of the most amazing events that the Chamber does, and people think, why do you say this, is the brewing up business that she does, not the first Friday, but the second Friday. I think that's really, really, really clever because everyone in Southeast Missouri has that first Friday coffee or something of that nature. And she said, you know what, we need to change it up. and have a second Friday, and then just kind of go out to the different businesses or remember, and just kind of see what's going on, say hello, be congenial, and I really think that's a unique idea that Alicia has there at the chamber.
Yeah, she is honestly a treasure in our area because she's very forward-thinking on stuff. She's always looking for a way to beautify and make Dexter better, which is awesome. I mean, that's if you have somebody in a position like that, that's exactly what you want. And her and her team do a great job of doing everything they can to promote Dexter in a positive way, because everything's not perfect here. There are things we're working on, trying to get infrastructure better or this or that. There's things that are constantly being worked on, but she definitely promotes the positive side and why Dexter is a great community for someone to bring a business to, somebody to bring an industry to, and like I said, we're very lucky to have her on our side.
And again, we're going to welcome the Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. Brock is the shelter insurance agent here. And let's talk a little bit about this. You have two affiliate agents, and their names are, again,
Matt Mitchell and Joe Geiling.
And kind of explain to the listeners a little bit about if they reach out to those individuals, they have the same access to everything you have, correct?
So they can do everything I can do except write paychecks in the office.
So they have full authority, and you can reach
Yes.
out to those. And you indicated that your newest agent, who has been here since April, Joe,
Joe, yep.
worked for FedEx.
Yes.
Who doesn't love their FedEx man?
And that's exactly what I thought. So FedEx did some restructuring, and actually how he came to me was because of the theater. I've known Joe since we were in high school. He was a year behind me. He went to Bloomfield. I was at Puxico. His wife came to the theater back in, I think it was November, December, somewhere around in there during the holiday season, and I asked her, how's Joe enjoying, holiday season? Because I knew it's busy for FedEx, and she said, he's good for now. And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, FedEx is restructuring some stuff, and so he's going to be leaving. And I'm like, really? And so that night I went home and I said to my wife, do you think Joe would be good in an insurance office? And she said, well, talk to him. And so, a couple months later, he was working for me. And so, because he wasn't done with the FedEx part. He wasn't actually done with FedEx until April. And then he came on board and he just hit the ground running. And we've got the concern with coming in with the small office like I have is, are they going to mesh well with everybody there? And he's come in, and him and Matt, they're like little brothers picking on each other all the time. So works great.
And again, we're going to welcome the Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams from Shelter Insurance, also the owner of the Dexter Twin Cinema Theater. And Brock, that kind of leads me to the question about the theater. If I was interested in renting the theater for an event or something of that nature, could I do that?
Yep, anytime you want.
How would I go about doing that?
You can reach out to us through our Facebook page, or you can call me directly. Some people call me at my office. Some people call my cell phone number, and just reach out to us and let us know the date. We actually, like a couple years ago, we had SEMO Electric in for their Christmas party. They did it there. So we've done Christmas parties. We've done meetings. We've done school groups. Whatever we can do, because basically that's just another avenue for us to bring resources in to pay the bills. And so that's where we try to open that up. And,
a lot of people would say, hey, that would be a great idea if I could bring in, I don't know, say my son's rec league softball team,
Yep.
or not softball, my daughter's softball team, or baseball team, or the soccer team, and perhaps request a certain movie that has something to do with that. Could that be possible as well?
There's some flexibility with that.
So they can reach out on the Facebook page if you're interested in doing that at the Dexter Twin Cinema. Brock would happily work with you. Now, it's my understanding you can get a hold of Brock any way you want to, and he's going to work with you as far as insurance, theater things of that nature. Brock, tell me a little bit about Vivian. What's going on with Vivian? And, we talked to Daniel. She indicated she's in the 5th grade. She got a lot going on as well?
She's starting to get to that point. She's 5th grade, so, now it's just starting to get to where they start branching out to doing different things. She's actually on a travel soccer team. And I never thought soccer would be such a prevalent thing in my world because, I hate to say this out loud, but I will. I've told my kids this too. I made fun of soccer all growing up. In college, there was a guy that lived in my dorm that was a huge soccer fan, and my thought was, any game you can play for 90 minutes and end in a tie is not a sport. That was what I would always tell him, and then he would throw back at me, and I'd say, now hockey's a sport because they throw fighting in, so there's another element involved. But I just made fun of soccer, and but I never played it, never been around it and stuff. My son, when he came home when he was like first grade, said, "I'm playing soccer." I'm like, "Oh, great!" But it has become such a big part of our household. And then my daughter wants to be just like her big brother, and so she's kind of gravitated towards the same thing. Now she also plays piano. She's started doing that, and she is more musically inclined than Daniel is. Daniel, God bless him, music is not in his forte. But Vivian has a beautiful voice. She is on the Songmakers at school. She plays piano and things like that also.
And again, we're welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams, the shelter insurance agent here. His office is located on the outer road. If you're interested in giving a call to Brock, his phone number again is
573-624-8923.
And he also has an email address that you can email him and ask him any questions, which is
BrockWilliams@shelterinsurance.com.
He is also owner-operator of Dexter Twin Cinema, and I know I say this over and over, but you can't thank Brock and his family enough for keeping the theater open, allowing for entertainment here in the area. It's truly amazing. Look on the Facebook page. He has a show Friday at 7:15, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, also a Sunday matinee, and by far the best event and best money value that you can get. Tuesday night, free popcorn if you bring a bowl. It's absolutely unbelievable. Brock, you indicated that you're currently the president of the Chamber of Commerce. How much longer are you the president?
I think December is when my term ends.
And I know that last year, was it in March? When is the Chamber banquet?
March, April time. They don't have it scheduled for this year, I don't think. Although Alicia's she's on top of things. She very well may have it scheduled, and I just don't have it in my head yet. But it'll be out there April time frame, somewhere in there.
And it's my understanding if you're wanting... April, May.
Somewhere in there.
And if you're wanting... And it's my understanding that they changed the location around. I think it was last year at the Elks, which was a great event. I think
last year was at the Meadows. The year before that, it was at the Elks. They kind of rotated around, right, trying to support different places.
Exactly. And if you're interested in becoming a member of the Chamber, obviously, I say this when Alicia was on, I'll say it when Dave Wine was on, and other people, please, please, please reach out. The Dexter Chamber of Commerce does an outstanding job of just advocating for the businesses here in Dexter.
Yes.
It's all of Stoddard County. And, sometimes the Chamber gets a bad rap of what they're wanting to do and things of that nature. The Chamber of Commerce is wanting to work with the businesses who are established to be successful in all the area. That's what they're wanting to do. And that's kind of why I'm involved with it. I think that's probably why you're involved with it as well, Brock.
Exactly, yes.
Is to make sure that every business is successful, because small business is the backbone of the United States, whether, people can realize it or not. Just like KDX here, has moved downtown to Dexter and things of that nature. So, Brock, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to for the remainder of the year? Is there some events or anything going on at the movie theater that we really need to know about? Is Santa going to be there by any chance, or things of that nature? Or have we decided, or am I letting cats out of the bag?
Well, we're not sure on that yet, because in all honesty, so we have one more week of cross country. Well, 2 more weeks potentially. Sorry. Districts is next Saturday, and also district soccer is next Saturday, which that's going to be a fun day. And then the next week would be state for cross country. After that, it will open up some free time potentially in our household, and then we have to sit down and do some planning on some things coming forward. My wife, as I said, is from Texas, and we typically go down and visit family during the holidays and stuff. So we've got to figure out some different logistics with that. And so I don't have any big thing I can tell you on that, though. So,
and again, we're welcome to Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. Kind of winding down here. He's the shelter insurance agent here in Dexter. Also, the Dexter Twin Cinema Theater. Look on the Facebook page. Brock, I didn't ask you, does the shelter insurance pay? Is there also a Facebook page for that as well?
Yes, there is.
So you can do that. And then we talked a lot about Daniel and Vivian. Let's talk a little bit about the soccer for your first inaugural year. What are your thoughts as far as the first year and how you think it's gone?
So my opinion, which is very limited on knowledge here, was that it was going to be a tough year, which it has. I mean, tough from a standpoint of just figuring out the logistics and everybody meshing together, because, we're going against teams that have, Kennett started a team, I think, 3 years ago. So
that's
you've
correct.
got 3 years of a team that's built together, that's getting closer and stuff like that. We're starting from scratch. to a certain degree. Now, there are players on the team that have played together and stuff like that, but overall, like the seniors that are playing, I think we've got 5 seniors, I think is correct. Of those, most of them, like I said, have not played for 4, 5, 6 years in a organized league. And then you got the juniors that's 1 year less of the same thing. And so my son has been playing some travel ball and stuff like that, and another one of his teammates and a couple more of his teammates. And so they had played a little bit since then, but meshing everything together, and they've done a really good job with it, in my opinion. So like I said, we weren't under the illusion that they were going to go to state their first year. I mean, that's it's a building year of figuring out what you're doing. And like I said, they're better now than they were a month ago, and that's what you want. You want a team that's progressing, going the right direction, and just getting better as a team.
And again, the one thing that I can say is I've watched them, Kennett and Dexter. I think you played 3 times.
Yes.
I can tell a huge improvement from the first game to the last game. And just the way that they're viewing the game, figuring out how to play. And like you said, some of those kids haven't played soccer in 4 or 5 years, and they're just coming out here and like, hey, it's not like they had a big off-season program and things of that nature too. It was just thrown out to there, and I think that they're very impressive and very excited. I think your coaching staff is excellent, excellent group that you've got there working with the kids. So,
that's another thing that kind of was interesting because they had a different head coach that ended up leaving like 3 weeks before school started due to he had a position in South Carolina where he was from that came up and left, and so they had to change gears really quick, and they've done a great job adjusting that too.
And anytime you start a new program, you have to admire those kids for going out there and having the gumption to know this is going to be a tough year.
Yeah.
But like we tell our kids at Kennett, we're not building for you. We're building for those kids 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road. And it's always tough as a parent because you want only the best for your child, but sometimes you have to realize that you're not going to win at everything. Being part of a team, working towards a common goal, and building for the future is very important. And I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, totally. And so I played basketball when I was in high school up until I did not play my senior year due to some beta club stuff I was involved with. But the things you can learn from playing on a team are very valuable. Teaching how to interact with people, teaching how to deal with people, teaching in high stress environments and how to react to that. And there's so many different things you can learn from the team aspect that these kids are learning, and it's a little different how they're learning it also because it's totally new. I mean, from the standpoint of playing soccer here at Dexter.
And that's, again, we're welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Brock Williams. Like I talked to my son when he was a sophomore, there was no one for him to talk to about how did you do this last year? How do you handle even the coaches? Where do we stop to eat when we go places, or how do we do travel time? I mean, it's a whole new concept, and it just takes a while to get it. So I'm very impressed, and I congratulate Dexter and congratulate Daniel on a great season. I hope you have a great season. I know the districts are coming up. Hopefully, you guys, do you have any more games beside the district?
We have a game on Monday, and I think it's Notre Dame who we play, which that will be a very tough game. And
Absolutely.
then we play districts next week, and I think it's Sullivan that we play next Saturday.
And again, we're welcome to with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, winding down with Brock Williams. Shelter Insurance is located on the outer road here in North Outer Road here
North Outer Road, yeah.
North Outer Road here in Dexter. Calling for all of your insurance needs. Also, the Dexter Twin Cinema Theater. Look on the Facebook page. Friday, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, Sunday matinee, and Tuesday free popcorn if you bring a bowl. Brock, as we're winding down, is there anything you'd like to leave the listeners with? Contact information or anything that we've not talked about here today?
It's just, so my wife and I moved back to Dexter 4 years ago, and we had lived in Dexter for about 7 years before we moved away for a little while. And it's a great community, and not only Dexter, the surrounding communities of Stoddard County. It's a great area to live in. It's pulled me back twice. When I moved to Texas, I never thought I'd be back in Dexter again. And then when we moved to Wentzville, I thought I'd never be back in Stoddard County again, and here we are. And it's a great place to live. Now, are there more flashy things out there? Sure there are, but it's a great community. We've got everything we need here, and just very blessed to live in the community we live in.
And on behalf of Brock Williams for Shelter Insurance here in Dexter and the Dexter Twin Cinema, and my my producer Maureen Johnson, my executive producer Evan Todd, I'd like to thank you for making us part of your day. I hope you have an excellent afternoon and a better tomorrow.